Boy, the things I have to remember to do, like hitting the record button, which I did. The numbers are going up. Welcome,
Is it?
everyone. It is a two-man episode of Geekamole, number 218.
Because our lovely Captain Coloratura is having an audition, and she just texted me saying that it went well. So here's to her. This is a very prestigious opera program that takes 6 months, and she gets paid lots of money. So here's hoping.
So you may be stuck with the two of us for a while.
No, she has weekends free,
Oh,
except when it's performance, So
Except, when it...
except when she's
Stuff.
singing. So.
Things. When things happen.
But things happen. But boy, do we have a show for you. Our news section is a little bit on the short side, but that's because we have 50% of the team for Gamer Girl and Vixen up for an interview.
The co-creators, at least.
Yes, the co-creators. It's the co-writers, the writer and co-writer. You know what I mean, exactly. But it's a good interview.
Mills and Christy McDowell, because Mouse can't pronounce her name.
Shut up. We re-recorded. We pre-recorded this. We pre-recorded this because we actually recorded
this
the
out of order.
first. Yeah, we're inceptioning and mementoing and all those things. But anyways, let's move on. Yeah, we're buttering.
Hi guys.
Hi
Welcome
guys.
to our show.
Welcome to our weirdness.
It's late. It's 6:47 here. I haven't had dinner yet. He's already wanting to drink, so...
I have not drank anything. Maybe I should, but I haven't.
That might calm him down. Who knows? Or ramp him up.
I have had, let me count. I have had 5 cups of coffee at work. Right now I can taste the coffee.
And he prayed to the St. Carol Channing.
Don't diss St. Carol, bitch.
You'll see.
The only 2 people I ever prayed to, St. Carol Channing, and of course I thank God for Sterling.
Did you see? You don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, do you?
Oh, David. You mean David's Carol Channing impression?
No, I mean Bob the Drag Queen.
Yes.
You saw that?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Hey, I loved it.
I know him.
You know Bob the Drag Queen.
I do.
Bitch. You're gonna hook me up somehow. We'll discuss this off channel.
We'll discuss off channel.
We'll chat. So let's get on to the news, shall we?
Raspberries, darling.
Yes, raspberries. So, Nosgoth, what do we say? It came, it's going away. Squeenix has announced that Squeenix. What can we say?
Squeenix.
This is gonna be a very disappointing games section. You'll see. But yeah, this came out in early access on Steam in 2014, and as of May 31st, you can kiss it goodbye. Like every other
There is
Legacy
no
of
access.
Kain. It's gone. It's gone bye-bye. Because Squeenix just can't be bothered. While it's still free to play, and will continue to remain free to play until May 31st, players can no longer purchase any additional in-game content, and in fact, every purchase that has been made since March 1st will be refunded. But, yep, Legacy of Kain is going away. This, for those who didn't know, this was actually part of the Legacy of Kain legacy of Kain.
The legacy of Kain.
Yeah, it was the Legacy of Kain's legacy. So that's really all I gotta say about that, Mouse.
In more what the fuck Squeenix news, Square Enix has recently clarified that the episodic, I'm going to be very frank here. This is probably backlash because of all of the shit that they have been pulling with episodic games that were not meant to be episodic. Life is Strange was conceived as an episodic game. And it works fine. But then they started, chopping up games left and right, releasing smaller episodes for more money. So now, after they got criticized and after Holy Jim Sterling came after them with the Lance of Spite, Square Enix has clarified that the episodic structure of the Final Fantasy remake will be actually full-sized games instead of a series of smaller episodes. Multiple full-sized games, which means that they will finish the goddamn fucking remake in 2030.
So it'll be Final Fantasy 7A, Final Fantasy 7B, Final Fantasy 7C.
7C, and the optional DLC of how Aerith gets her groove back. Because that's what they're gonna do.
I could just see the master rebuild of this entire thing as one gigantic game that takes 700 terabytes. And
that's what it sounds like, because they're going for multiple games. So here's the thing. Yeah, they got flack for chopping up games into smaller bits so they could make more money. Fine. But don't go the other way. Just make a full fucking game. One, that's all we need. Final Fantasy VII was one game. You don't need to add more shit to it. The game was perfect as it was. Just modernize it.
I'm still convinced that they are somehow going to take Final Fantasy VII, Advent Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and somehow make a video game out of Advent Children and make it...
And they're probably going to make it before Crisis 2, so we're probably going to have like the past we're going to have flashbacks. I bet you money. Listen to me, this is me in 2016. I'm betting you money we're going to get flashbacks to the stupid before Crisis with Fujito and what's her fucking name? Espe, baby, Shiva, the jailbait with the materia inside of her. Elfie.
The jailbait with the materia inside of her. Does that make her a material girl?
She's the material girl, and she lives in a material world. But Elfie, that's what, her Elfie. We're going to see that. We're probably going to see that. We're probably going to see more shit about Final Fantasy than we ever wanted to see, when all we wanted was a remake.
I will play that game. I'm sorry.
No.
I will.
Here's the problem. Square Enix has lost the ability to say no to itself, and that is why it has gone in this downward spiral of failure. You look at Bravely Default. It's a perfect old school modernized JRPG, and it sold like hotcakes, and it was critically acclaimed. Look at the goddamn sprawling mess that is a Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, or is it tetralogy
13,
now?
okay,
What the
13, fuck? 13 is a different matter. There's a reason for that. It's because they were having to rebuild Final Fantasy 14 at the time. When you have to send your entire crew rebuilding an MMO from scratch that you've already launched, which looked exactly like Final Fantasy 11. Hello. Looking at you, Squeenix. Don't say that. Don't think I didn't know.
Yeah, we noticed. So that's the news. We honestly, this just makes me trust Squeenix less, and I barely trusted them at all. So, guys, don't fuck it up, because honestly, I can tell you this: if you screw up Final Fantasy VII, that's the end for you as a company. It really will be, because honestly, as an experienced person on the internet who has hanged around people for many years, I can tell you there is no such thing. There is nothing more frightening and more hardcore than a rabid, hardcore Final Fantasy VII fan. You fuck their shit up, they will fuck you up.
What? You think the thought of Squeenix raping the last good thing out of Squaresoft?
No. They have not desecrated Final Fantasy VI yet.
I said the last.
Oh, okay. No. Final Fantasy IX was good.
Okay.
Final Fantasy IX was good.
Fine.
Nobody played it, but it was really good.
I didn't care for it that much, but
anyways, moving on.
So, yeah, Zelda's 30 years old. She looks good for her age.
Mm-hmm.
Link is another matter. Link has
that's in video game years. Every 1 year is 7 years in video game years.
It's like a dog, yeah. But there were some fans who put together a 3D-esque voxel-based version of The Legend of Zelda, the original game. That could actually be played online in your web browser using keyboard and non-screen controls. It looked really cool, and sadly, Nintendo has asked them to take it down. Now, admittedly, it's Nintendo's right, and they do have to protect their copyright and their intellectual property. They could have done it a different way. They could have actually licensed this to them, but
Like
Nintendo.
Vivendi did with Phoenix Online Studios and their remake of the King's Quest games.
But there will be
But
more of this.
yeah,
So, yeah, it was cute while it lasted, but no more. Next.
yeah. All right, so we're talking about Starbound now. This is a game that I kickstarted. I helped kickstart it. Did Drew kickstart this game?
Drew's only kickstarted 2 things because Drew forgets to. No, I've kickstarted 3 things because I forget about them. And
You're
I
going to kickstart Gamer Girl and Vixen,
hey,
won't you?
I give money and then I completely forgot I get things back. So I have given more money than I have gotten rewards for.
So this is you're saying you've got Kickstarter Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's only one game that has still not been produced that I've kickstarted, and I'm like, City
Full
of
disclosure,
Titans?
which game is that?
City of Titans.
Well, I kickstarted that too. I'm on the same boat, but we get regular updates, so
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't. I'm saying every other thing that I had kickstarted has already been. Oh no, there is one more that hasn't been completed yet, and that would be Planescape Torment.
oh yeah, me too.
But literally every other thing I have kickstarted, they're like, oh, you need to. Here's your email. You need to go and fill out this thing over here, and I'm like seeing it 3 weeks later, and I'm like, oh, I get stuff. Crap.
Yeah, so talking about things that are finally getting produced now. To be fair, Starbound has gone through a lot of patches and a lot of versions and a lot of betas, and we have seen this little game grow from basically Terraria in space to something a lot more intricate and with a lot more systems. And
It predated
close.
Terraria.
Well, yes, but I'm just giving the comparison of how it was, that kind of thing. And we finally got the notice that their final approach to version 1.0 is getting close. They're not giving us a release date yet, but it's going to happen within the next few months. And they have a huge amount of modifications and updates for the quest system, for dungeon system. You can actually have a crew in your starship. You can modify your starship. All sorts, and the quest system looks really cool. So I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if the 1.0 release will erase my character. It might, which will make it very sad on the poor colonists to depend on my character actually giving them stuff to survive. But oh well, that's the life in cold hard space. I'm looking forward to Starbound, and I will make a full review once we have the 1.0 version out and about.
I have had so many beautiful houses destroyed by the new releases. I get sad. I'm like going, oh, I've got statuary, and I've got a fountain, and I have this whole deck where I land when I teleport down, and then the next expansion comes out, I'm like, God damn it!
But the sad thing is that you stopped building these wonderful things the very update before the wipes stopped. Since the last one, everything has remained exactly the same.
I've come back in and I've built another thing. It's just not as beautiful. It's huge. But
you're like, whatever the fuck.
It's mainly because I just haven't gotten around to finishing repairing my ship because I don't care.
That mission in the mines kills me so much.
Oh, I've done that. There's something else after that I just haven't done, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay on this planet. Whatever. I'll strip mine it until there's nothing left.
and talking about strip mining until there's nothing left. Next.
So yeah. Speaking of things being ceased and desist, World of Warcraft. There was a particularly large and very popular private server.
It's 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. That wasn't the name of it. We've been doing this for a while because I heard the 7 o'clock one during the interview, so we've been doing this for a while. But yes, there was a server called Nostalrius that was actually a vanilla private server of World of Warcraft, and it had been around for a while. And they have received notification, functionally a cease and desist from Blizzard's attorneys, both U.S. and French. Although I don't know why French, but why not? Advising them
because we can.
Advising them that they were about to be taken to court and telling them to take down their server. And as a result, the vanilla server has been taken down as of April. No, wait. It'll be taken down in 2 days. Sorry, April 10th is when it'll be taken down. They had at its peak. This is, for anyone who plays WoW, the freaking vanilla, the desire to play vanilla has been very real, and especially with Warlords of Draenor. Oh my god. At its peak, Nostalrius had basically up to 10,000 players actively playing the server. They boasted over 800,000 registered accounts, according to the developer. But, yeah. So, in response to them being asked to cease and desist, they have issued a public letter to Blizzard asking them to revise their policy on legacy servers. And while I am extremely doubtful that Blizzard will do any of the above, Nostalrius has basically offered their services. They weren't, as far as I know, making money off of this. This was all strictly volunteer. So, who knows? But like I said, this was a sad, sad round of games, aside from Starbound, which is good. Aside from the fact that I keep losing my houses. But, moving on to print. And the Afterbirth.
Oh, who's starting?
You're the only one who's got print topics, so it's all you.
Oh, really? Okay, so we're going to talk about... so, let's talk... Whatever.
English.
It's all... I am all alone. I'm all alone here in this gigantic topic. But this week we got some FAQs on the status quo of Wonder Woman as she moves forward, as the title moves forward into the hands of Greg Rucka, and we didn't really hear anything that we hadn't heard before from his previous statements, except that he wants to bring back Ferdinand the Minotaur from the pre-Flashpoint, pre-New 52 run on Wonder Woman. And he also wants to bring back Renee Montoya, which would be awesome. No plans still for Donna Troy or Cassie Sandsmark. So, I would like to see Ruka try to untangle the goddamn unholy menace that voice continuity. And I don't know, bring her back to the Marv Wolfman continuity. Simple, uncomplicated, leave it at that. Cassie Sandsmark can go die in a fire.
I'm sorry, you think Donna Troy was simple and uncomplicated?
Her first continuity was perfectly fine. The one that Marv Wolfman wrote for the for her.
So you're meaning like the pre-Dark Stars, pre-Infinite Crisis?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. Before Crisis on Infinite Earths made like spaghetti out of everything.
When she became like part Harbinger, part.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. It's too painful. And then
there was nothing uncomplicated about that. That was the very definition of complication.
Pre-Crisis Donna is always good. We got to see her in the Convergence title, so we know she exists somewhere. But talking about Wonder Woman, we have to talk about who else was rumored to be on the project before we got a confirmation that it was Greg Rucka. Marguerite Bennett, of course, was the favorite runner-up to the project, not officially, but by fans and rumor mongers who were also fans. Unfortunately, it seems that at some point... sorry, I just have a blank. You're going to edit this out.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you totally are.
No, I'm not.
You asshole. No. Now, recently Marguerite Bennett made an announcement and she started a Patreon saying that she had recently lost a major project shortly after very expensive surgery, and as she's struggling to rebuild in 2016, she was hoping to be able to interact directly with her fans without a publisher and share art, writing, behind-the-scenes stories, all that sort of stuff. So that's her Patreon there, so she can get some much-needed cash. Now, people are assuming that the project that she lost was Wonder Woman, but that is not the case. She actually lost Angela over at, that other place. So
the other place.
The other place. So best of luck to Marguerite Bennett. Guys, go check out her Patreon. It's actually pretty cool. I might throw money at them, but I have to recoup a little bit from throwing money at Gaming Girl Olympics and give them money. Anyways, so talking about money and the reasons why DC is not going to get any.
Are we on to television now?
No.
Oh,
We're on
you're on your side topic.
Yeah, I'm on my. This is juicy.
Go ahead.
So, because DC dilly-dallied, well, okay, I make it sound too generous. DC Comics, honestly speaking, did not know what creative teams they were going to have for Rebirth, because Rebirth is most likely a rushed mess for the studio, who's basically in damage control mode right now. So they didn't really have time to really plan this out. They finally got all of the teams lined up. However, because of this, they didn't have enough time to print out their catalog order in time. So retailers will only receive 2/3 of their orders of the catalogs. Now, so they have missed the boat on the first shipping. But don't worry, DC says they're going to send out another order on April 20th. There's a problem with that. You see, the order deadline for the comics, so retailers can have them, it's April 18th. DC. This is DC snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. So...
What, they don't have a TARDIS?
A what?
A TARDIS? No. The publishing isn't some sort of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey thing?
Timey-wimey. So, Rebirth is off to a great start.
You mean they can't edit the reverse of the show like we're doing?
Exactly, no. So, and here's the thing. They hadn't really publicized that this was happening. They were trying to keep this on the down and out of sight kind of thing. And it was the kids over at Bleeding Cool who broke the news. So DC was going, oh my god, we fucked up. I hope nobody notices. Yeah.
We noticed.
DC, I want to like you. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Seriously. Anyways, moving on.
On to television, on to broadcast news.
So, in the one... Yes, once again, it's just me. So, this is not going to be hate for DC. This is the one place where they're actually not fucking up. So, right now, we still have not had an official confirmation that Supergirl will be renewed for a second season. That is still up in the air. I don't know why they have not done it, but apparently the crossover season with the crossover episode, my brain is melting down. I'm hungry. The crossover episode with the Flash seems to have apparently saved the series from cancellation. That is at least the general humor of things. We do not have a confirmation of a renewal, so here's hoping.
Here's the chaos thing of this. I first saw an article weeks ago saying Supergirl not renewed because they had renewed a whole bunch of other things, and that was one of the ones that was conspicuously absent. Right. 2 days later, I saw an article saying Supergirl renewed, and I'm like, oh great! And I was going to make it a topic, but then I just didn't. And then, like a couple days after that, Supergirl not renewed, and I'm like going, Jesus, somebody make up your mind.
What's happened is that it has not been renewed, but it also has not been canceled. So right now, it's in time slot limbo with the CW. So
not CW. It's not CW show.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. The ABC, is it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Sorry. Like I said, I'm tired. It's kind of in limbo in ABC. We don't know what's going to happen. Fans hope that the show will be renewed, and the show has had good reviews, and even though it started off kind of wobbly, it has gotten stronger with each episode. So we don't know. We know it's not canceled yet.
CBS, not ABC.
CBS. God damn it, all these acronyms. TV network. There.
CBS, one of the old four.
One
Oh,
of the
rather,
old four.
pardon me, I'm older. It's one of the old three. Pre-Fox.
Oh.
All
Do
right.
you really want to be advertising that?
Please, they already know how old I am. So,
As old as the hills.
And please, I announced how old I am during the interview, for crying out loud. So, as he chokes to death.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Are you sure? Can we continue?
I'm fine. We may continue.
Your mic went.
How about now?
You're still very faint.
How about now?
Now you're fine.
Okay. I guess I'll just do the rest of the broadcast like this.
Okay.
We need to do more of these hungry, I think.
Moving on. I do most of them hungry. Moving on. In the realm of why, dear God, why? The reason I had to make sure that we were talking about CBS and not ABC is because this is about ABC. Cloak and Dagger are coming to what used to be known as ABC Family and is now known as Freeform. Because why? I don't know.
ABC Family, wasn't that like ABC Rape Fest?
No. ABC Family is the channel that is designed for the children of people who watch ABC.
I remember a lot of questionable content on ABC Family.
Maybe thinking of Lifetime and stuff like that.
Oh yes, no, Lifetime's a rape channel. I forgot. Okay.
Lifetime is the men are evil are going to kill you channel.
Yeah.
But anyways, Freeform is the demographic for that is obviously for children, so let me just. For those who aren't familiar with the characters of Tyrone and Tandy, otherwise known as Cloak and Dagger, these are two drug addicts who got their superpowers activated because of experimental heroin.
Sounds like a cool origin, bro.
Think on that one, and now imagine it as a cartoon for your children. Really, we're kind of anticipating the depiction to be less like the comic and more like they are on perhaps Ultimate Spider-Man or the Web Warriors or whatnot.
They got activated by pixie sticks.
That's been a common term for heroin. Pixie dust.
I saw fairies for a week.
What I'm dying to know is, are they going to ever explore the fact that Cloak and Dagger's powers are actually reversed? Because in the comic, it was explained their powers are backwards.
I'm not terribly familiar with the characters because I never found them really that bad.
Cloak is the gentleman who has a cloak that basically leads to the Dark Force dimension. And Tandy Dagger throws light daggers that overcharge people. Their powers are reversed. Tandy was supposed to be the dark one, and Cloak was supposed to have the light powers. That's the way their mutant genes were actually set up. The heroine did it.
Yes.
That
could totally be a PSA in the superhero universe. Kids, don't do drugs. Your power's gone out weird.
Your power's going backwards. Whoever you're hanging out with, you'll get their powers. Don't hang out with Squirrel Girl.
Fuck no. You'd be able to beat everything in the galaxy.
Yeah, I guess. Dr. Doom at least several times over. So, moving on to cinema news.
Cinema news. So, we have...
We're not going to discuss Volda movie. But in the wake of Volda movie...
We have to discuss Volda movie. I mean, we have to name it, at least. Volda movie is the movie that shall not be named, herefore known as Dawn of Disappointment. So, first things first. And the topic I will jump to right now. Apparently, Warner Brothers is shocked about the bad reviews that Dawn of Justice got,
Okay.
and this is kind of gotten them, as we have mentioned before, in overdrive. Oh my God, what the fuck are we do? Mode. Right now, Suicide Squad is spending like $20 million reshooting
Is it now
because
20? It was 10.
it was the quote was tens of millions of
Oh.
dollars. So we're talking at least $20 million, um, because they realized that all the fun that was in the trailer is all the fun that was in the movie. And so they suddenly realized, well, Dawn of Justice kind of got reamed with really bad reviews because it was a gigantic slogfest of gloom, sturm und drang. Maybe we need to do something before the studio dies. I mean, the studio's not going to die; they still make all the money, but they really can't afford another huge critical flop like this in the same universe. So, on top of that, Warner Brothers is now considering shaking up their film slate a little bit. So, in the wake of Batman versus Superman, a lot. And we'll talk about this in just a second, but they're also considering adding some personal changes on the upcoming Justice League. Unfortunately, Zack Snyder is still on helm, at least as recently as the most recent update on this. They are considering adding a new producer to the mix. We have no confirmation of this, but it might actually be the Mad Max Fury Road, George Miller, as a producer, probably to rein in some of Snyder's, greatest, his tendency for excess and decadence. Which, honestly, if that is the reason, I would so love to be a fly on the wall on that set just to see Snyder squirm.
I'm going to see Tim Burton's take on DC. That would be creepy and cool.
That would be creepy and cool. So, talking about moving their slate, they have now announced two unidentified movies onto their schedule, and they've also moved Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was originally going to debut in June 23, 2017. They have moved it a couple of weeks earlier. Now it's debuting on June 2, 2017.
June 3rd.
June 3rd? Okay. Some people might consider this a show of confidence in the movie, and from what we've seen and the notices that we've heard from the director, it is bound to be a good movie, or at least it's meant to be a goddamn better movie than the piece of shit we saw, considering that Wonder Woman was one of the few things people actually praised about that movie. But it's also a strategic move to run away as fast as possible from the huge behemoth that is going to drop in June, towards the end of June, which is Transformers 5. They don't want Wonder Woman against Transformers 5, and it's a good move.
And
honestly,
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, if I recall correctly.
And Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Because the last thing DC needs at this moment is a Marvel movie owning one of their movies. However, disclaimer, I think the Wonder Woman movie is going to be good. I just don't know. If they fuck up Suicide Squad, then there might be fewer people willing to try Wonder Woman to watch the movie, and that will give it a slow opening box office day, which, So here's hoping. I would honestly move it even earlier. Just to get away from June and all of that shit.
You don't want to take it out of the key movie watching time, and you don't want to take away their time to create the movie and have plenty of time to edit.
Right, or move it to November. You could always move it to November.
You want them to move it backward?
No, forward from June to November, ahead. Like delay it. There's been,
that's backwards as far as I'm concerned.
Why?
Moving it back.
No, forward. Okay, November 2017.
From June of 2017.
To November 2017.
Would be pushing it back.
Oh, god damn it. Stupid language thing. I was thinking,
what language are you trying to do this in?
I was thinking pushing it back like November 2016, I thought you were thinking.
No, because that would be pulling it forward.
See, in my mind, okay, I want you to...
It made perfect sense to me.
No. I want you. I want to explain what I saw in my mind.
I can't
I saw the
wait.
timeline. Huh?
Uh huh.
And here's Wonder Woman. Okay, no. Okay, I saw the timeline, and here is Wonder Woman, the movie,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Here is 2016. Here's 2017. In my mind, pushing it back is going this way, whereas in my mind, going to further 2017 is pushing it forward.
So you live in the River Song chronology. You basically live backwards.
Yes, pretty much. Anyways, last bit of news for DC, for the DC Murderverse movies, is that both Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill are both eager for a solo Superman movie. And at this point, if Henry Cavill is still saying shit like this, he deserves whatever he's getting. Because
Spoiler.
really,
Spoiler. Stay dead.
stay dead. Stay dead, dude. Don't rise. If Snyder tells you, Snyder is Audrey 2. Snyder is Audrey 2 from the Little Shop of Horrors. Like, come here, Seymour. I will make you famous. Don't feed the Snyder. He doesn't know how to direct. He doesn't know how to direct any actor who is not scowling all the time. So,
Snyder is the Gladys of directors.
yes,
One day we will
yes.
look back upon this
One,
and laugh and laugh and laugh.
run away, Henry. You honestly, you
The
can be
cake
a
is a
very
lie.
charming. You can be a very charming actor. We've seen that. We have seen that. You are not charming at all as Superman, and it's because of how you're being directed and the kind of shit script that Snyder goes for. So, if you want a Superman movie, have someone else direct it, at least.
I just I think it's funny that I watched another reviewer and they pointed out stuff we missed.
Like, I
Like
thought she
the
was
fact that
reviewing.
Batman
He
actually
emailed her.
he emailed her.
He emailed her, and then he forgets. That's how I think. That's how I'm honestly, positively sure that Batman was brain damaged during that whole movie. He emails Wonder Woman.
As I repeat my comment from Facebook, there was so much fuckery going on that even we missed that.
It was like, yeah, he emails Wonder Woman. He emails Wonder Woman, and when she shows up, she goes, "Oh, I thought she was the news Aggie." So that's it for the Murderverse.
We're not
My news.
that anymore.
We're not going to discuss the movie anymore.
We're putting it away.
Go on.
But speaking of whatever, I'm not even going to bother changing the graphic. I had a Death Note graphic, but I'm not even going to bother. Speaking of things that Warner Brothers is doing in response to the Volta movie, they are realizing they've perhaps overstretched. And so they are consolidating what they are investing in, and one of the things they have decided not to invest in is the Death Note movie. The live action one. Netflix,
And-
never fear, although Netflix has picked it up in their wake, because that's what Netflix tends to do. I can only hope that it will not be an abysmal disaster, but that's what my fear for any live action adaptation of an anime happens to be.
Well, here's the thing. Honestly, I'm far more likely to trust Netflix than Warner Brothers over this.
Yeah, maybe. Perhaps. But the big news of the day, and this will be the last news of the day, and I'm just going to say
Before the re-interview,
before the interview, Rogue One. If you haven't seen it, what the hell are you sitting here watching us for? Keep watching. Because there's an
Keep
interview
watching.
coming.
after the interview,
You
go
can
and
go,
watch
you
it.
can go see the trailer after the interview, or you can pause it and put it in another damn window, but come back.
And by the way, the actress the actress they've chosen for Mon Mothma, I think Disney has cloning technology.
Thank you. I was going to talk about that. After jump the gun. So,
That's for you not editing this.
No, I'll still talk about it. But yeah, there's it seems just based off of the trailer, and Warner Brothers, take effing note. That is how you do a trailer. That is how you do a trailer. It is freaking awesome. I'm excited for. I wasn't originally. I was like, Rogue One. Who cares? I am excited now because I want to see this damn movie. Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso. Awesome. As Mouse said, the character who is the actress who is playing Mon Mothma.
She is
Holy
like her
crap!
fucking
Is she a
clone.
clone? This is in fact the same person who played the young Mon Mothma in Revenge of the Sith, Genevieve O'Reilly. But then again, the
But
guy
looking more Mothma than she did before. It's
more-
like
she looks more like Mothra than she ever did.
no,
Mothra,
she looks
Mothra.
great. She looks like the character.
She does, but then again, Mon Mothma really only has one iconic look. So
With the caftan. She looks like she just came back from a Peter, Paul and Mary concert.
whatever, it works. She's just been sunning out on the sands of Waikiki or whatnot. Donnie Yen is a freaking space samurai. I'm like, he looks badass. Forrest Whitaker running around in this. He's got his monologue going in this over this. They have perfectly recreated the base on Yavin 4. Only thing I keep joking about is how many freaking Bothans had to die to make this movie.
Ooh. Ooh.
No, seriously, the funny thing is when you watch Rogue One, the trailer, you will see, and I'm going to do this at some point when I'm not lazy. When you see them building the Death Star, spoiler, there's a Death Star. When you see them putting the big dish in there, I keep wanting to put a meme that basically says, screw cable, we're getting dish. So, yeah. So, after the interview, you have my permission then to go watch the trailer because it is badass. And I want it, and I will have it. But that's all we got for news, guys.
Now we're moving on to the interview in which I make a complete idiot of myself.
No more than usual.
You're gonna die, bitch.
We love you guys. I should be
Yeah,
nice
sure.
to him because I want him to introduce me to a drag queen.
Yeah. It's like, that door is this close to getting close, you know?
Yeah, we'll chat offline. I have other leverage. So, peace out, guys. We'll stay tuned for the broadcast, for the interview, the thing. Yeah, that
The
it'll
thing
be
that
here.
we're doing after this, yes.
We've already done it, but
Well, we've done it, but
through
we
the
will do it
magic
again.
through the magic of video editing, it will be next.
It will be next, even though I'm going to go and eat because I haven't eaten, which is why I'm loopy.
Is that the reason? The red button is hit, and we're recording.
And welcome to our interview section, everybody. We have two members of the Delightfully Deranged Minds that are coming up with this gorgeous comic, Gamer Girl and Vixen. Say hello to Christy McDowell.
Christy McDowell and Shawnee Mills.
I know.
We can't take him anywhere. He can't pronounce a name to save his life.
That's
And I haven't
fine.
even
I get
started.
it a lot.
I haven't even started drinking yet.
He didn't. We didn't even ask him to pronounce Joey yet.
I want to redo. I want to take backsies.
Go ahead, but it's still going in.
Oh, I hate you, Drew. Okay.
I have control of when these things get patched together. So.
Oh, this one's going to success. Anyways,
Go
so
for it.
we have the delightful team of Christy McDowell and Sean Ian Mills, whom you know as henchmen for hire, and Christy McDonald from A Planet's Cry.
What is it with
As you can
Donald?
see-
McDonald.
I know why. Okay, I know why. Actually, I know why.
Why?
My third voice teacher's last name was McDonald. And for the longest time, she was Mrs. McDonald, Mrs. McDonald, Mrs. McDonald. And I have this subconscious thing about Mc, it always goes into McDonald's.
Yes, well,
That's why.
considering where I eat breakfast every
Ow.
morning, I still don't call her McDonald's. So.
This is awful, my God. Okay.
So I'm not giving you a
McDowell.
pass.
Christy. And you're not going to make me let me redo any of this. So,
You can redo
gosh.
it. I'm just adding it on. Once
The
more with
series.
feeling.
Once more with feeling. Oh gosh. Okay, so this wonderful series is co-written by Christy McDowell.
Thank you.
I just went into my Carol Channing impression right there. And Sean Ian Mills, respectively, of fames of Planet's Cry and Henchmen for Hire website. And it's also with arts and coloring by Gemma Moody and lettering by Taylor Esposito. See, that one I can pronounce because it's Spanish. Welcome to our show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So much for having us.
And the reason they're here today to talk to you is because they have just recently launched a Kickstarter. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter for Gamer Girl and Vixen?
Christy, go right ahead. I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah, sure. So Gamer Girl and Vixen is a modern love story featuring two lesbian supervillains who meet on the rooftops of a fictional New York City filled with superheroes, villains, and all manner of craziness. But instead of the grim and gritty, grounded in realism superheroes, it's more lighthearted fun. Just kind of, it pokes fun kind of at the idea of the whole supervillain thing and really celebrates the joy of it rather than mires in the depression.
Oh, I like that.
Hey.
We need more humorous, more lighthearted style, comics, because after the 90s things went, and then, Dawn of Justice, which we will not discuss. Dawn of Justice.
We will not talk. It is the movie that shall not be named. It is Volda movie. Okay.
Volda movie. There we go.
Yeah, no, we're pretty much the antithesis of Dawn of Justice with this one.
You named
Total
it.
opposite.
So, how did this project come about? Because Christy and Sean, you both have been. You have. See, today my words are not with me. I am suffering
English
a meltdown of sorts. English. The rest of the interview will be conducted in Spanish. Entonces me puedes decir cómo puedo.
Too bad.
So,
I don't know if they speak it, and neither do I.
So you two have been collaborating together in fiction for a while.
Yeah, we met on the internet about more than 10 years or so ago, just in some writing clubs. We'd write for fun. Fan fiction, stuff like that, just on the side, on the hobby kind of thing, and we became friends through that, wrote together through that, but it was all just fan fiction posted online for nobody's business but our own. But a couple year or two ago, Christy decided, she was ready to get out there and become a professional comic book writer like she's always wanted, so she put her money up, she found some people to work with, and she made A Planet's Cry, which is a nice little comic. And then I decided, if she can do it, what's holding me back? So I teamed up with her and got her help, and we came up with this story based on some of the stuff we'd written before, and here we are. We had one successful Kickstarter last year, and now we're doing it again to try to go even bigger and better, and we're hopefully making it happen.
And your original Kickstarter, that was issues 1 and 2, and then this one is the paperback, which would be chapters 3, 4, and 5, if I'm correct?
Nope. This paperback, it's going to be chapters 1 through 6.
Oh,
we're
1
going to
through
do a full
6.
100-page full collection of their first story together.
Oh, excellent. See, I'm personally, having attempted the webcomic scene, I am personally jealous at your dedication to this, because I dropped out of that 3 or 4 times.
That's because you didn't let me shame you into it.
He tries to shame me into it. I have about 5 people who try and shame me into going back to it, and it never works.
He's shameless.
Yeah, I'd have a hard time going back. I have a couple of embarrassing comics out there that I will never link to because it's just embarrassing.
I enjoyed what I made. The problem is that I have this tendency to rehash and reinvent, but I like to think I do it better than DC. I just don't follow through with it.
Oh, maybe that's DC needs a little bit of that.
So, Christy, when did you first get the fiction bug? Because I see that you completed your Bachelor's of Art in Writing at UMass Lowell. Is that how you pronounce it, Lowell? Lowell.
Sure is.
Lowell. Okay, good. I'm
like a Polish American.
just think of me as the today I am the ESL demographic of the show. I've used up all of my English at work, and now I not talk so good, Lucy.
Don't tempt us. Don't tempt us.
Don't do it. Okay.
So I've been, I've been writing for my whole life. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, and when we were cleaning out her stuff, I actually found the very first comic book I had ever done, and I had to have been in kindergarten, just drawing goofy pictures and writing nonsensical stories about dogs because that's what every 7-year-old at 5 is into. Um, so I've been doing it forever, and when I first graduated high school, I actually went to school for music. And after a couple of semesters, I realized that it was definitely much more of a hobby than a passion, whereas my writing was developing more from my hobby to the passion. So I switched majors, got my associates in liberal arts, and then went on to get my bachelor's in English with a focus in the creative writing because I can't imagine doing anything else. I love what I do very, very much, and doing this Kickstarter, doing this all from the ground up, doing this on the indie side of things is very, very difficult, but it's probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It's the closest thing to my dream that I've ever been to in my whole life, and it's amazing.
I'm crashing.
Again?
Don't say. Don't. Just don't. Hold on 1 second.
For the record, anyone who's watching, this will be his second of the night.
Happens to the best of us.
All right, it's done. Okay, I killed the process. It was Firefox who was deciding to hijack my computer. But good. Sorry about
How
that.
many browsers do you need?
That is none of your business.
Clearly it is, because it keeps crashing.
Oh gosh. Okay, so in 2013, you co-founded. See words. You co-founded Eden Park Tales to do A Planet's Cry. Tell us a little bit about A Planet's Cry.
So A Planet's Cry is this amazing dream project. This is I had this idea for the story when I was still getting my associates. So this is, 2001, 2002 of this very epic, big, time-spanning story that there's so many elements to it that I wanted to get into there. It's very heavily thematic. I really wanted to break boundaries with panel structure and the way time moves. Like, I just had this epic. And trying to do that when you've not done anything else is a lot harder than I thought it was. It was an amazing process. I learned a super ton about it, and I definitely want to go back to it now that I've learned a lot more about comics in general. But it was very, very hard to do as a novice creator. So I kind of took a break from that to focus more on Gamer Girl and Vixen, which is a far more accessible story. A lot more straightforward, where we're able to take something that's really familiar and inject something new and unique to it. Whereas what I was trying to do before was I was trying to reinvent comics, and I didn't have the tools to even invent my own comic yet. So
there's always the vision, which is always so much grander than the skill.
It's huge, and it's something. It's definitely like my passion, my dream project to do someday. It takes place all through time, and it's got this idea of like an endless, timeless love, where it just captures. It just sweeps you away with it, and it ends up leading to a place where you don't recognize yourself anymore, but you're something so much better. And it's just it's such a strong vision in my head, and I know I can close my eyes, I can see exactly what I want, and I'm not at the level yet that I could create such a place.
Chrissy,
so it's kind of like. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Have you ever heard of God? And it's been years since I last saw it, and I don't know if they still update it or not. It was a webcomic, but it was an interactive webcomic called Argon Zark.
I'm not familiar with that.
As you were describing, reinventing the panels and all this stuff, the reason I harken back to that is because Argon Zark was a webcomic that I stumbled across one day. They actually had to release a traditional graphic novel, which I think they referred to as the Commemorative Memorial Dead Tree Edition or whatever. But what was so interesting about that series was they introduced Flash elements into the webcomic, such that some of the panels would actually explode and open up, and you could delve deeper into them. And I always thought that was a very interesting way to take a webcomic. Very costly, very involved way to do it. But that's when you're describing, reinventing the panels. I'm thinking that's the first thing I harken back to. So I was always wondering if that was something that you had heard of before.
No, never. That sounds really interesting. I'll have to go and look into it because that just sounds cool. I was thinking more. One of my favorite artists in the whole world is J.H. Williams III or the third, and he was the writer for the best part of the Batwoman comics in New 52, and he was the artist for when Greg Rucka was writing Batwoman Elegy, and just his work is just phenomenal. I've never really seen anything like it in my whole life, and like that was the closest thing I'd ever seen to what my vision was. So having discovered that, I was like, good, I can see it. I can see that's exactly what I want to make, and then just not being able to do it. So got to get there first. I got to get, a little bit more projects under my belt before I can really tackle this beast of that comic. But someday, I'll get there.
It shall be your magnum opus.
It is.
It sure will.
In a way, it's the dream towards which you're eventually going, taking all of these projects, gaining more experience, getting more tools in your tool set, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. The more I can do, the better. I love this medium. I love comic books so much. I love writing about comics. I like writing comic books. I just devour it as a medium. When I was getting my degree, I actually had the opportunity to study comic books as literature. Like I'm so invested in it as an industry and as a piece of art that I can't imagine doing anything else. And I want to just get through I want to do as many different kinds of things as I possibly can. I want to master this medium. I want to make my opus.
And Sean, so during the day you are a mild-mannered reporter, but during the nighttime we've all seen you as the review writing henchman for hire, and you are now venturing into the world of fiction. How long have you had the bug bite you?
A long time as well. I've always known I wanted to be a fiction writer. I can remember back in high school, doing what I could family used to have a laptop back at the start of the internet age, and I used to write fan fiction for the internet, and I used to write just all manner of creativity back when you were a kid back then. And it's something I always wanted to do. I always planned, maybe I'll write my novel or something like that. But then, you grow up, you go to school, you go get a job, become an adult. You always think, I'll get around to it. But I was one of those guys that never got around to it until now. And now I'm trying to make it happen. But I've always wanted to, and finally I'm doing it. I recommend that to everybody. Just get out there and do it.
So as someone who's just now starting to do this, and now that you guys have 2 issues out, what are some of the things that you've learned, both as comic creators, since Christy learned a lot from her early attempts as well, and from having done this crazy venture of a Kickstarter and getting it funded and getting the stuff out and people liking it?
What have we learned? We've learned. Oh, geez, I've learned every single step of this process. The intricacies of writing a script, of making sure the script can actually be read by an artist. Learned, how to work with other people on a project like this, how to work with an artist. One thing we've both learned is how important it is to have a letterer like Taylor Esposito. Just how a professional can increase a comic. Everyone really thinks about, the words and the word balloons there, but there's a whole art to it that these professionals know how to do, and Taylor does it, as good as anyone. So there's a whole process to it: the printing, the publishing, the getting it out to people, and there's everything we learned with Kickstarter. There's just so much I've been doing for the past couple of years now on this. It's unending.
Yeah, it really is. It's I learned a lot about the act of making a comic with doing work with Eden Park Tales, but working in Gamer Girl and Vixen has brought us there's just so much to it because you're not just creating, you're also marketing, you're also distributing, you're also I turned a room of my house into a shipping center so that we could do all of this. It's a big, big, big investment in time, money, and energy, but every single part of it is so important to really take in. And you let one thing slip and you think it's not a big deal, and things can just really balloon out of control. We were much later last time getting our rewards out than we had hoped. And people were very, very understanding and very cool about it. But we just didn't really even understand how long it would take a printer to print and then ship, 1,000 plus comic books.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it was a trip. But we wrestled with it, we got it, and I think we're stronger for it. I think every step we take now is familiar now, and that really it's showing in the way we're able to perform. As far as you look at chapter 3 and it's stunning compared to chapter 1. It's just we all are just figuring it out and learning how to communicate and learning how to bring these girls to life.
And I think that's one of the things that Mouse and I talk about quite a bit on the show is, especially with Kickstarters, your Kickstarters are always going to be very forgiving of you if you're running late or on something that you have to deliver on, as long as there's transparency, as long as there's an open communication and open dialogue. It's when you disappear that the problems kick in.
Yep.
And so, kudos to you guys.
Can't get rid of us.
I'm curious. What I would like, I always like to see the behind the scenes kind of thing, and knowing what I go through to make a character. Where did you guys come up with the inspiration for Gamer Girl and Vixen themselves?
This was actually they come from some of the old fan fiction we used to write. We used to base it on write fan fiction about Marvel superheroes and DC superheroes and stuff like that. Just for fun. With we had some writing clubs going on, and so this originally started out as just a fan fiction story starring some of those characters that we were writing just for fun. And when we decided to make it a real project that we could get behind and try to make, we had to reinvent, make them original characters and come up with new ideas. And for Gamer Girl, I'm a lover. She's the one I created. I love video games. I'm still a gamer in my old age here. And, if you look around in comics and cartoons and stuff, there aren't too many video game themed characters. And when there are, it's usually the fat bearded guy who lives in his mom's basement who plays video games, or they're hopped up on Neon or something. Yeah, exactly. But there's so many cliches to it. I wanted to create a video game themed character that was legit and not weird or crazy or anything like that, because this is the kind of theme that just isn't out there. I wanted to make something cool with it.
What I love the most about Gamer Girl, she's Sean's baby, but I think the thing that he did with her that I think is so empowering and awesome is that she's an engineer. She's studying science and mechanics, and she's a woman in STEM, and there's so little of that represented in a way that is really accessible. You get kind of the stuffy science types, but Gamer Girl's character is still really down to earth and fun. She's got her passions, but it's not the only thing that defines her, and I think that's a really great way to treat her. And then Vixen was kind of. Excuse me?
That's his talking clock. Ignore it.
That is my husband's robot overlord screaming every hour.
This is how people know when we're pre-recording, because they'll get random times shouted out at them.
That's fantastic.
But you were saying about Vixen.
Yeah. So Vixen, I wanted to be really sexy in kind of a conservative way. Like, you get all these bombshells, and they're spilling out of their costumes, and their only their real only weapon is their sex appeal. And what I wanted to do with Vixen is kind of still create that really sexy vibe that people are really familiar with, but to make it a lot
more like the Julie Newmar sex appeal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think there's really something to that. There's something else for people. Some people know that she is this attractive character, but she doesn't have to be something so um, that she's a caricature,
She
of
doesn't need to
what
slut it up.
sexy.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like it's not a statement about that so much. It's just that it's so heavily relied upon that it in of itself has lost any kind of it's not edgy anymore. It's not.
Yeah. When you have Raven in a Teen Titans wearing like an almost nothing, it has gone too far.
Yeah, it's just it's such a bummer because I think that there's really only one or the other. There's the kiddish young girl, kind of a Kamala Khan kind of a feel, or there is a power girl, with the boob window. So, you've got all of these. You've got very different ends of the spectrum, but very rarely do you see something kind of in the middle, something that she's not using her sex appeal as who
as
she
the
is
weapon.
on the second. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And actually, that's one of the things that I would like to see more from creators. And, because there's many ways to be sexy. And I don't know, it's just like a lot of comic book creators seem to think on this very solid one-track mind, probably because of hormones. But they have this concept that if you can show 2/3 of a boob, then that's sexy, and like if you can have a slit all the way up to like the hip and you see most of the leg, then that's sexy. But there's so many ways that you can be sexy and classy at the same time. You can be sexy and wild. You can be sexy and there's actually sexy and conservative when you have there's people who pull it off so well, and we don't really see that in superheroes. And I think it really variety. There's always having variety is nice.
I think, and this is obviously me purely speculating and not with any scientific background whatsoever, but I think it's part of the fact that they're pandering to a demographic of young teen males. Obviously, now as a 44-year-old man, I think freaking Mercy in a business suit, and I'm going, God, I want that. But, let's be honest, my tastes are a little skewed.
Well, I don't know. I've seen characters. Of course, it's an anime, but for example, Integra Helsing, she's wearing a suit and all that stuff. And I keep thinking, if I were straight, I would find her amazingly devastating. So.
Well, it's because Helsing looks like a man half the time. But
no, it's just she's got the class. She has the glasses. She has the class. She has that sort of I'm in control of things thing, but without being
strength that she broadcasts like nobody's business.
Exactly. So, and that's part of what makes, and that's another thing that creators need to remember, that there's more to the character that makes them sexy than just what they were. Someone who's confident, or you can have someone who is compassionate and caring. That is also an attractive trait. And that reminds me a lot of the relationship between the two characters, because there's this playfulness to them that in a lot of comics could turn very, a lot of people would turn it very sleazy goodness, like Alan Moore would, yeah. or
what you're talking about.
Really? But reading the comic, there's also that little vibe of this is sexy and cool underneath. That's so nice.
Well, thank you. So we're trying.
I think we're trying to go for something that just feels a little bit more natural. Like, we put these characters together, and it should feel right that they're together. I think a lot of times, especially when you're trying very hard to make a point with some kind of a theme, that it's very easy to make it feel forced. But what we really wanted to do is capture how fun it is to be in your early 20s and falling in love for the first time. It's fun. It's exciting. It should feel that way. Exactly. Nothing stops your heart like love and crime.
they're naughty girls, but they're not naughty girls.
Yeah.
And so you also have these other two elements. We have the beautifully cheerful art by Gemma, who of course could not be part of the interview because it's incredibly late where she currently is,
Damn
and
you,
so
England.
we did not want to, destroy her sleep schedule. But how did you end up collaborating with Gemma?
Oh, we found her on the internet. When we knew we needed to find an interior artist for the pages, we did the research, figure out what you're supposed to do, and there are just tons of freelance artists out there and websites where you can put ads together and post it. We have paid work. We need an interior comics artist. Anybody interested? And we had dozens of people just submit their portfolios and links to their DeviantArt pages, and there's just plenty of people out there looking for work to be artists. And Gemma was one of dozens, and everyone sent in links to their portfolios, and her stuff was good. And Christy glommed onto her right away. Christy really wanted Gemma right away, and then Gemma, we sent out a little some information. We sent out some. We had some concept art done ahead of time, like in advance, of the characters in costume and stuff like that, and we put that in the ad so people would know, what we're looking for. And Gemma took it upon herself to draw a little cartoon of the two characters, like without any prompting, and no one else did this. No one else went this little mile, but Gemma did, and it was adorable, and that pretty much cemented her as the best possible choice. So, and we couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
It's been a year and a half now since we met her, perhaps longer, and she's just been a fantastic partner and collaborator and a member of the family now.
Yeah, she is way more than kind of that hired wrist kind of a thing. She comes up with a lot of the style of the book. Sean and I, put together this framework and this script and this dialogue, but she brings it to the life that in a way that I don't know that I could have imagined. She's just got this really fun, people have been describing it as kind of this Archie like superhero book, and I think it's got that. It's got that really kind of innocent, fun feel. That flirts a little bit with the danger that simmers underneath. Like, they're bad guys. You really shouldn't be rooting for them, but like, God, it's fun too. And I think she really brings that out in just her facial expressions, just how she really draws you in. You're really rooting for Gabriel Girl and Vixen to do whatever they're going to do, whether it's, rob their favorite pop star or finally, have that big magic moment together.
But that's the key thing. I mean, these are villains, but they have that human aspect that makes you want to cheer for them. They have this endearing quality between each other, and you want to see them succeed as partners, and that carries over to the crimes, and you want them to win. Darn you, heroes.
Yeah. I'm of the mind that not all villains are evil. I think some villains are misunderstood. And then I think some villains are just selfish, and these girls just fall into that selfish category. They're not really out to hurt anybody. They're just out to give themselves the best of everything they could possibly have, whether that's, robbing their favorite pop star of whatever they want to get from their pop star, or whether it's like in the interactive story we're doing on our Kickstarter campaign right now, whether it's, going stealing their favorite video game console. It's just, they're not take over the world types. They're just in it for a good time.
They're flash
robbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, it does have that Archie kind of feel, and by that I mean the art of Dan DeCarlo, who was the artist who drew Archie and Josie and the Pussycats. There's this, the art is not, their art style is not exactly the same, but there's this, the poses, they're so they're so energetic without being frenetic. There's a lot of very natural feel to it, but you like looking at it, which is
DeCarlo's one of my favorites, and I think there's just such a joy to his work that Gemma emulates, and I think that's really telling in the way that the story comes out. It's amazing what she does and what she brings to the project. She breathed a life into it that I don't know we would have found otherwise.
So you guys I think you were at a third of the way or nearing a half. I forgot what the exact number was for the new Kickstarter.
Right now it is at 3,934. So we just need $100 to go into 4,000.
Yeah, we're almost at 40% done.
Oh,
Big thanks to Mouse today for his bid. He helped his comic, so that pushed us even closer.
Disclaimer: Mouse supports.
Yep.
How many more days do we have?
Till the end of the month. So
23 days to go.
23 days to go.
Plenty of time. But don't know anyone who's watching this. Don't slack off.
Oh, we don't. We got a lot.
Until it hurts.
Yep.
Give it. Take until it hurts. These are villains. Give and give.
Oh yes.
Robin Hood your way into this. So after this story, what do you guys see as the next step? What would be the ideal next step for you after this?
Volume 2. Keep the story going.
Excellent.
We already have plans for. We have plans for plenty more stories, and here's hoping we can keep them going somehow. But focus
we
on
have
this.
The frameworks of the next volume pretty much already mapped out. It's just a matter of seeing, how this goes. And I think this is the ultimate confirmation. It's one of the reasons I love Kickstarter so much, of your product being something that people want. People are willing to, put their money where their mouth is if they're looking for a diversity. By supporting us, that is, telling the big guys that you want more stories like this. There's a little bit of, I feel, some backpedaling being done by DC with this Rebirth coming out.
A lot of backpedaling.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah, they're throwing away the bathwater and the baby. Unfortunately, like they're
burning the house down. They're not just throwing.
They're undoing some very questionable things. They're undoing questionable things with the whole New 52 thing, but they're also getting rid of a lot of good things that they've got, like the Babs Tarr Batgirl, and similar comics on that vein. Which
that comic.
Yeah, and I like I like the fact that this comic, and it's going to succeed. I already predicted. So, internet, you need to prove me right.
Mouse doesn't support things that don't succeed, so it's going to happen.
Well, there was that one project, but okay.
We told you not to discuss it, so Mary, carry on.
The person died. It's force majeure.
Wow, there's a caveat.
But it will not happen again.
Someone dies.
Peter dies, Sean, huh?
Let's
hope not.
However, but what I wanted to say was that it also sends a signal to the big publishers that you want stories that are not designed by committee. And by that, I mean, those of us who read comics for a long time remember characters who were clearly created in the time just to check off some boxes, and we're taking this demographic, etc. Characters like Vibe, way back in the day, the Justice League Detroit.
Talking about Vibe, perhaps.
You weren't thinking about Vibe?
I was about to ask if you were talking about Vibe.
Poor Vibe. They actually, they redid him quite well in the New 52, but that comic ended. But back in the day, you had a lot of characters who, we need to get after the Hispanic population. So you would always have the Hispanic guy who was usually from the hood, and he, was usually in a gang, and he talked like Dora the Explorer, which I don't talk like that, DC.
He didn't talk like Dora the Explorer. He just randomly alternated between English and Spanish every other word.
I know. Do you realize how difficult that really is to do?
Yes.
Even when you're fully bilingual or polylingual, it's really hard to just switch back. So, Vibe must have been a genius, but a lot of those characters come across as not feeling really genuine because they're not created because someone really wants that character to exist. When you create your characters, Bianca and Liz feel real. They feel like they have a reason to exist other than just being, two lesbian supervillains. And that's what, we need more of. creators wanting to tell the stories and publishers being open to those stories being told. Now that a lot of things in society have changed, so we should encourage more of this, more independent comic books writers and artists to bring out this sort of diversity. Not, not force someone who doesn't want to do it. Like, oh god, what was his name? You know who I'm thinking about.
The key thing is that these are not conglomerate characters who are lesbians just for the sake of being lesbians. This is a passion, character.
Yes,
that was designed. Yes, for to fill, to fill a gap in the industry. But there is a character behind these people that they're not just lesbians. Just to let's just go out and do it. No, they are, like I said, they're characters. They're people first and foremost who just happen to like women.
Absolutely.
That's super important to us because we know we're already in a very niche market as it is, but we want it to feel very organic, not something that's very forced, not something that is like, you see it all the time kind of in the mainstream area where they're like, and then here's, I think what strikes me the most was in Batwoman after Draco took over and he brought in Nocturna, is that her name?
God.
Yeah, it was so bad. It's so forced. It's so aggressive, and it just didn't feel good. Like you could tell what they were trying to do, and it just was not working out. And it was just devastating, and it ruined a really strong, awesome character as a result.
Well, that's what I feel like they're doing with Iceman right now.
Yeah.
Let the boy think. He doesn't need his penis to think. Just leave it alone.
Although
Jean Grey, stay out of it.
Yeah.
Although I was a teenager once, I remember, but...
Well, I mean, you don't... Yes, but do you walk around with constant narration going, oh my god, I'm going to go have sex with him, or should I be having sex? Iceman, stop. If it happens, it happens.
Is that what they've done with a character?
Sort of, yeah. Here's the thing. If you just come out... Well, I grew up in a very Catholic country, and I didn't come out... I came out to my parents, and that was a Greek tragedy right there. My mother was crying on the staircase. It was like an opera, but they got over it. They got over it, but... And us! But, when I got to the States, and I suddenly realized, I can do what I want. I don't have to worry about, society in Ecuador and, my parents losing their jobs and stuff like that. I kind of was like that for about 5 months, and then I settled down because I'm a human being, and nobody can keep that pace up unless you have issues.
Marvel.
You can let the boy go now. But yes, it's... So, not, on a completely related topic, not. Now that we have talked about
this one.
In a completely related topic, not really. So, you've got Taylor Esposito as your letterer. How did that come about?
That was really cool. I'm really active on Twitter, and I was doing a lot of pre-work on Gamer Girl and Vixen, starting to establish a base audience, and he reached out to me, which was just amazing. Like, I looked at his credentials, and I was like, why is this guy even talking to me? I was just floored. So he just reached out, and it was really friendly and very nice, and he's like, hey, I see that you've got this pitch put together. Who's your letterer? To which we answered it was Gemma. And he's like, nothing at all about Gemma. She's an amazing artist, but I think I could offer you my lettering services, and I think it would make a difference on your book. And it sure did. I couldn't tell you. I feel like the art of lettering is this very mysterious thing because I don't notice good lettering, but I really notice bad lettering. And
Yeah.
in comparison, I don't want to say Gemma is a bad letterer because that's not it at all, but she's definitely not a professional letterer like Taylor is. And night and
Right,
day.
she's focused on most of her visual art, not in lettering.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a statement about Gemma at all, but it just Taylor brings a professionalism to the book that we didn't know we didn't have until he sent us the sample, and we're just like, wow, that's. I don't know what was wrong with the first one, but this one is right.
Okay, I got a question, and I do this because number one, I love asking weird questions, and B, I love throwing mouse off.
Oh God, brace yourselves.
So
Impact
yeah, I'm
Captain.
going to make you dig in your minds here. Really, and you may not have an answer for this, but let us just play fantasy for a moment. I'm not going to say Warner Brothers, but let's say a major producer decides they want to make the movie of Gamer Girl and Vixen. Who plays the titular duo?
You
already
think it's
know.
a weird question, but we absolutely already know. We had this answer a long time ago. Gamer Girl, obviously, we played by Anna Kendrick. And who was Vixen?
Brittany Snow.
Oh,
Yep.
Yep. Their dynamic in Pitch Perfect and Pitch Perfect 2 is a crime that it never came to fruition. So we are determined to make it happen in the Gamer Girl and Vixen movie. We are going to see that chemistry fly because it was smoldering in those movies and just never let go. That's such a bummer.
I can hear the Cinema Sins guy now. Anna Kendrick is not giving me a lap dance in this scene. Ding! Sorry, I watch entirely too much YouTube. I should stop. Go ahead, Mouse, you're next. I've completely thrown him. He doesn't know where to go.
I'm like, okay. That was a mental image that for a second I did not need to have, Drew. But
Anna Kendrick giving me a lap dance?
yes,
I can have that image.
You're not seeing the facial expressions I'm seeing you're making in that mental image. So it's.
Now I'm
I
curious.
We're incorrigible. So now
I
to
should have that on a business card.
what other business card?
I got some business cards. Maybe we should just write it in. Next.
In any case,
You're an atheist. Stop that.
I am praying to Carol Channing. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
But so now, since both of you are, you love comic books and you have read comic books, what would you say are your each of you give me your top 5.
The current top 5 or all-time top 5?
Let's go for old-time top 5 and the one you like most reading right now. So 6. This is awkward. All right, just give us the top 5 of all time, then what you're currently reading. Yes, okay.
All right, let me 1 second here. Let's see.
I bet you have a right?
No, I know this. My number 1 favorite comic of all time is Ultimates by Mark Miller and artist, what's his name? Brian Hitch. Back when that first started, the Ultimates.
Mm-hmm.
That was my Watchmen. That was breath of fresh air. The realism behind that, the characters in that, it opened my eyes to a whole new kind of comic coming out of the 90s and what we had then. After that, it's a little darker, but I absolutely love The Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. It's the Punisher taken to the extreme, but just the poetry he finds in it, the messages he finds in it, he ties it all together. It's just a big 10-volume set, and it's all characters and stories woven in together through each volume. And it's all based on a whole understanding and reflection of the Vietnam War. It's not just the Punisher killing bad guys. He really weaves this whole great story, even if it's gory and the Punisher turning people into blood and stuff. but it's the best Punisher will ever be written, and that's one of my top. I read that every year. Like people read like Lord of the Rings once a year or something like that. I find myself going back to those Punisher graphic novels every year. Beyond that, I loved Gotham Central, Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka, Michael Lark, and the art teams they had there. That was a one-of-a-kind series that, the Gotham TV show can never live up to, unfortunately. Beyond that, I loved Why the Last Man. That was great by Brian K. Vaughan. That was a whole adventure. And one of my favorites of all time has to be All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly. I've never been a particularly big Superman fan, but that story is just the absolute perfect Superman story. It's like Grant Morrison's creativity just infuses the character, and we got the current. I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but the current Superman out there in the world right now is this one from All-Star Superman is the exact opposite. He's bright, he's colorful, he's amazing, and that's one of my tops.
Not a mass murderer.
But he's Superman.
Yeah, he's Superman in that. The Superman we all wish he could be. And as for right now these days, I have to think my favorite comic right now reading has got to be Unbeatable Squirrel Girl at Marvel. Written by Ryan North and art by Erica Henderson. That is the funniest comic I have ever read. Every page is hilarious. The character is so heartwarming and adorable and friendly and respectful, and the art just goes perfectly with it, and it is just laugh out loud hilarious at times. That's got to be my favorite these days.
How about you, Christy?
Oh my God, it's a hard act to follow. I never remember all of the artists and writers and stuff, so I'll do my best. So my favorite of all time has got to be, I mentioned it earlier, the Batwoman Elegy series by Rucka and Williams. Good Gravy, is that a beautiful book? It's beautiful, it's smart, it really says something it's the story of Kate Kane that made me fall in love with her as a character. It was just... I don't even have words for it. I really I relate to her so much. I had a very brief stint in the military and was discharged, so I feel something for her. So that one is always going to be my favorite. Others that I really enjoy very much. I really liked the by Dark Horse, the Angel and Faith series, season 9 for Buffy. Man, I was a big Buffy fan growing up. I always will be. But what they did with Angel and Faith made Angel a likable character for me, and I spent decades hating this character. So, just quite excellent writing. The art in it is incredible. It's a really great, solid continuation of the series. Beyond that, I think, some of the stuff that I'm really loving is, I really love Lumberjanes right now. I can't get enough. It's the only all-ages book I read, and I cannot get enough of it. It's so cute and adorable, and it's just so good. It's these characters they feel really good. They're so fun and cute and just adventurous. It's such a great story for young girls. I can't get enough of it. Gosh, why am I blanking on comic books? It's sort of like I don't read them or anything.
Don't feel bad. I feel the same way. If he asked me this question, I'd be like, X-Men?
Put on the spot. Yeah, right.
Teen Titans, and I think Young Justice, and that's it.
And The Legend of Wonder Woman, don't forget that one.
Oh, that's yours. It's not mine.
Okay. I thought it was yours too.
No.
Huh. You think you know someone.
All right, we have time for one more. One more question. You got another one, Mouse?
All right, make it a good one.
Lay it on us.
What time for one more?
All right, let's see. We've talked about... I do have a list. I'm
sure you do have a list.
Yes, that's right. So, Sean, I have seen that you have been submitting scripts to, is it the Proving Grounds?
Oh, yeah, yep, that's been fun.
How's that experience working out for you? would you recommend it to other writers?
I would absolutely. For people that don't know, the website is comicstribe.com, comics spelled with an X, and they put out a lot of great books. One of their founders and head writers, a guy named Tyler James, is a huge supporter of ours, and we're a big supporter of his. So we're actually been pretty close with the Comics Tribe guys. It's something Christy discovered to help learn how to make comics, and just reached out to these people. And one of the things they do is a couple of their writers and editors hold this totally free, volunteer-based editing, I guess, just peer review. And what you do is you send them a couple pages of your comic script, and they'll read through it for free and edit it like a professional editor would. That's what they do for I think they do it for freelance editing. And they'll tell you what you're doing wrong, why it's wrong, what you should do better, how to. Basically, it's almost like a crash course in basic comic book scripting. And I've submitted 3 times now. Once was a rewrite based on their suggestions. And each time, I think I've written a totally perfect script that I'm super happy with. And each time they come back with all manner of mistakes and problems. So it's been a learning experience each time. I keep learning something new to knock me off my high horse. But it is a very rewarding experience if you're a comic book writer. It's totally free. Just suck it up, submit your script, take their constructive criticism, and become a better writer through it. So I highly recommend Comics Tribe, and The Proving Grounds is the name of their thing there.
That's right. Why did I say probing?
Was that Vorpal?
I think that might have been Vorpal, yeah. God.
I lied. I asked one more question. I have one more question.
Go ahead.
And again, I like playing What If. Let us say any one of the major or minor publishing houses today say to you tomorrow, we want Gamer Girl and Vixen, no alterations. We won't touch it. What universe would you like them to most be part of?
Oh, wow. I have to go Marvel Universe. Old school Marvel fan here. I'm more than happy with that. I'd be comfortable with it.
How about you, Christy? I'm sensing some dissension.
Anybody but the big two. I would never unalterations and everything, but I don't know. I don't want them to control it. I don't want them to own it.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel happier. I mean, I think I could say something like Dark Horse or Image, but I don't know. I think I'd be really happy with an Action Lab Entertainment. I really like them a lot. I like the smaller imprints a little bit better. I think you have a lot more control. Action Lab just strikes me. They have their Princeless book, which is just incredible. Jeremy Whitley is just an amazing writer. He's on their Action Lab Entertainment. I think Gamer Girl and Vixen would probably fall more into their more adult material, even though it's not really an adult comic. It's just
sure.
A little bit more subject matter. But I think that would be a treat. But I don't need it to be enormous and kind of taken out of our hands. I get why Sean was on Marvel, but I just like the idea of it still having that that kind of underground, can't contained feel, because we're indie and nobody can tell us what we are, because we're indie. So I like that quite a lot. So I would have a hard time, I think, with one of the bigger guys, because I just don't know that I would feel. No, I just don't feel like it would be a perfect match with these guys, with these particular characters.
Excellent. So, guys, let's go ahead and I want to thank you both for coming out, and let's go ahead and talk about the Kickstarter again one more time. Mouse, Sharon, anybody, go ahead.
The Kickstarter is currently running for the month of April. We're trying to raise enough money to print a 100-page graphic novel starring Gamer Girl and Vixen. The deadline is the end of April, beginning of May, and we're taking backers who want to order our book. If you're not familiar with Kickstarter, it's all It's not a charity. No one's donating money or giving us money to put in our pockets. It's all a pre-ordering service. They'll pre-order our book, and if we get enough pre-orders to hit our fundraising goal, we get to make it. We get to make great comics and publish them and ship them out to everybody across the world. So if you want good comics and you trust these guys' word that it's good, head on over to Kickstarter. Our website is www.gamergirlandvixen.com. That'll lead you to the Kickstarter, and it's as simple as ordering anything online. You know, you put in your name, put in your credit card, and off you go, ordering our comic. So we'd love to have you. We got a lot of fun things planned for our backers. We got some giveaways. We got some prizes, and we got a lot of merchandise offering. And everyone hopefully will get everybody we need and have another success this year.
Excellent.
Give until it hurts, people. And who knows? Maybe someday, Gamer Girl and Vixen action figures. There's a thought.
Ooh.
I'm
Sean
in for the damn
own all
movie
of
at this
them.
point.
Well, yeah, Anna Kendrick and Brittany Snow call us.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we got a script?
Sign my ass up for that.
No, I'm not going to say it.
Go ahead.
No. I will say when the camera stops rolling. Have you been?
Who says when that will happen?
Have you been recording this just in case?
Yes, I'm recording it. I'm looking at the little red numbers rolling.
Shannon Christie, thank you so much for coming onto our show. And here's all the best for the Kickstarter. And give money, people. Give money. We want to see this.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to
you.
put the pause on this button. Hold on here. Button, pause.